Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is well and not suffering too much with this cold weather. Tonight, we've got Anthony Hall on with us, the Swindon Town CEO. This was come about from a question that we had to the advisory board in November, asking that Anthony had been in the role for a couple of months then, and we hadn't seen him, and people wanted to know about him. So we've arranged tonight, so Anthony is on with us tonight. So let's get Vic on.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Morgan. I'm okay.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you very much indeed. Bit wet in Devon, but apart from that, it's fine. All good.
I think it's a bit wet everywhere.
Yeah,
some with snow and some with rain.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Right, SAS?
Oh, yeah, SAS. Now, of course, we've got Wimbledon away on Saturday. And SAS Travel will be taking phone bookings only tomorrow night from 7 o'clock. There are plenty of spaces left on the coach if you want to go to Wimbledon on Saturday. So get in touch. And if you do go on the coach, of course, there's no parking problems in London. Then you go on the bus straight to the ground and then straight away again. So you don't have to worry about parking in London. 10:30, they depart the county ground on Saturday. So get in touch with SAS Travel tomorrow from 7 o'clock and book your place on the bus. It's that simple, really.
Simple as that. Okay, so we get Anthony on. And,
why not? Absolutely, yes.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chris. Evening, Vic.
You okay?
Hiya.
You all right?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Very well.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to it. Any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll get through as many as we can, as we always say. Any that we don't get through, we will, of course, collate them and send them on to Anthony if we get too many. So we'll see you later.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks very much indeed. And what we should say at this point is, if you have any questions, don't just send them in on social media. We will be having a fans forum next month. Come along and ask them yourself, and then you know that they're going to get answered, because I often get accused of not asking the questions that you want answered. Well, an opportunity at the fans forum in January, come across and actually ask them yourself. It's as simple as that. Anthony, a very good evening to you.
Good evening. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Let's start off with what the trust has put out tonight. Now, I've got many questions about the accounts and Clem's offer for the trust to have a look at the accounts. The fact that it hasn't happened has led to all sorts of speculation. And can I just read you a couple of lines from the statement from the trust tonight? It says, "We are disappointed in the current stage of progress and are actively engaging with the club to expedite the review. We will continue to press for the next stage and offer solutions to accelerate progress. The Trust Board commits to providing a further update, regardless of the level of progress, by Thursday, December the 21st. I take from that the football club are not actively engaging with the Trust in this particular process. What have you got to say?
That just isn't the case, Vic. I'm quite surprised by it, to be fair. And I've read it before I came on. That's just not the case. It came up in the advisory board. We've offered for the Trust to come in. There's been an initial meeting with Scott Curtis between himself and Annabella Di Costa to set out what Scott would like to see. That information has been readily available for him to come in. There was potentially a visit to come in on last Friday. That hasn't happened. We've now offered for him to come in on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays to come and view the accounts and see all for what he wants to see. There's nothing now that we're trying to hide, and the inference that we're being obstructive just isn't true. And that's the way that I've taken it when I've read that article just before I come on now.
So as far as you're concerned, because I've got another question here which has come in, obvious question, should we be worried that the Trust hasn't seen the accounts yet? And can I add to that, this from STFC Questions and Mike Penny, suggests it's because the club is for sale and due diligence is happening. Is this the case?
Absolutely not. Club isn't for sale. These rumours seem to go around every week at the moment. The club is not for sale.
That's simple.
That's simple. There's no story there. There's nothing there. The club isn't for sale. Clem's come out about himself in his own statement after the Aldershot game.
So why is this not happening then? Is it because the Trust aren't getting their what's it's in gear? Is it because the club aren't? Why is this happening?
There's no real issue to it. The guys can come in when they want. We've said this. I'm a little bit frustrated by the statement, Vic, to be perfectly honest. And it isn't the way we've set out to have this process done. The offer was put out there by Clem when he took over that would be open and transparent, which Clem is doing. Then one of those actions is to come in and see the accounts. Come in and see them. Before I joined, there wasn't a set of management accounts. So we've been actively working through that to make sure that we get the right financial information issued correctly and displayed correctly so everybody can see what they want to see. And you will see that the money being put in by Clem Morfuni is substantial.
You see, that's the other questions which have come in regarding the amount of money that Clem has to put in. How sustainable is the club? Because that's what you're working towards, isn't it? You 100%. Want a sustainable football club. So how sustainable is it? I mean, I've got questions here which say, I'm trying to find it now. This is from Lord Kevin. Lord Kevin, hi to you, Lord Kevin. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being dire and 10 being no problem, how does he rate the financial situation of the club today? I mean, what would you say?
5 to 6.
5 to 6. Yeah. And how does that equate to other football clubs?
Well, on par with every other football club that's in League Two. You know, there is not, you know, some are obviously financially a lot healthier than what we are. But in terms of what is reported, that clubs lose between $1 million and $2 million in League Two, we sit in that bracket. There's no, you know, there's no doubt about that. And the guys will see that from the figures when they come to see the accounts.
How difficult is it week to week to run this football club?
It's difficult. It is difficult. And the way that the club has been run, which Clem's mentioned many times, I don't want to be sounding like a parrot and echoing his words, but it has not been run very well for the last 20 to 30 years. I think that's a matter of record. That's a true statement. And it's difficult, definitely. Some of the commercial deals that have been done do not benefit the football club. And that's a fact. You know, and we need to go out again and look at those deals. And that's the biggest challenge that I have as a CEO of Swindon Town Football Club to get correct, to make sure that this football club is sustainable.
I've got a question here from Anthony, which is more to do with how much will it cost to attend the fans forum? Well, the last one was a £5, all of which went to Derby Rimmer Foundation. So, you know, if you want to pay a £5, mate, come along. We're happy to see you there. It may not be a £5. We don't know yet. Also, this is from Aaron Chahal. Will staff be paid on time this month? Because this was another rumour, of course, that people weren't paid ahead of the Aldershot game. And therefore, you know, the reason was the result was so bad was because some players hadn't been paid and some of the important members of staff hadn't been paid. What would you say to that?
It's just not the case. The staff have been paid again. The staff are paid on the last working day of the month. That's what they're contracted to. I've heard all sorts of rumours. They should be paid on the 25th, paid on the 27th. The contracts are the working day of the month. That's when the staff are paid. Earlier, on the last day.
So you just broke up a little bit just then. Right. Can you tell us, this is from Anthony, can you tell us what the 2 wives of club employees owning a fifth of the club have left money-wise in their handbags? And have they got another couple of million? Should they invest more? I mean, that's another rumour. Do you want to dispel that?
So, say the question again. Sorry, Vic. Say the question again.
Well, you remember that Clem sold some shares off. And we talked to Clem about that and the fact he was actively buying those shares back. And they were 2 wives of club employees. And one was the lawyer, was he not? Owning a fifth of the club have left money-wise in their handbags. And if they have another couple of million, would they invest even more?
I don't think that's on the table, Vic, is it?
I don't know. That's the answer.
No. The answer to that's no.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Right. Are you going to find and sue the source that spread the lies then if it's not for sale, says Adrian?
I'll ask the question. Will the person who started the rumour come and see me in my office tomorrow morning and ask me the question? Okay. Instead of hiding behind keyboard. Come and see me. Here every day.
All right. Let's have a look. There are more questions coming in, as you say. Aaron says, on a par with every other league club in League Two, do me a favour, he says. I don't know what the amount of money that is owed or paid by other clubs in League Two, but what would you say to that? You obviously talked to other chief executives.
I'll speak to other chief executives and I'll just say, look, that's fine. If he doesn't want to believe that, that's fine. When the books are published, you'll see exactly the state of the club and what it's been in.
Yeah, okay. In what world, says Peter, does selling your first team shirts for half price weeks before the Christmas shopping make financial sense? All it does is set off alarm bells. Actually, the thing is, there are a lot of fans out there who think lots of things are going on, but don't seem to get clear answers about them with the accounts and things like that, because nothing is heard for weeks and weeks and weeks. Can you understand why people suddenly start thinking things aren't quite right?
To a point I can, Vic, yes. But in terms of, as I said before, the club don't agree with that statement anyway, that we're being obstructive, because that's not the case, we're not. In terms of the shirts being sold for £25, it's before Christmas, it's the home shirt. We've got the third kit on sale now, hence why we've reduced the home kit. There's nothing more to it than that.
Okay. It wasn't a fire sale to make some cash quickly.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Being sustainable, says Mark, is a laudable aim. However, investment is definitely needed in the team for us to have a realistic chance of making the playoffs this season. Will this happen? I mean, you'll be aware, of course, of Young and Kemp. Jake Young's on a fantastic scoring record at the minute. Yeah. There's every likelihood that Bradford City are going to call him back in January. Why wouldn't you if you were Bradford City, for goodness sake? Yeah. Kemp, the same. What do you know about that? And what is the possibility of keeping them?
I think Jake Young will go back to Bradford, as we just spoke about there. I think that, a new manager's gone in there. He'll call him back. We'll have a look at him. His goal scoring speaks for itself. Dan Kemp, we keep talking to, and we'll see what we can do. And Jamie Russell, Michael Flynn behind the scenes are working very hard on that.
So is there a chance that maybe Jake Young could come back?
Listen, I hope so. I think we all do. And we all want Jake. We know that. He's had a great first half, not quite the first half of the season, but a great start to the season with us. We'd love to keep him.
Fine being sustainable, but when are we going to get out of this league? The size of club and fan base deserves and should be above probably half of League One clubs, says Sean. Well, that's an unknown question for any football club, isn't it? But you can understand what they're saying. 8,000 to 9,000 people will come and watch the town every week.
Yeah.
So therefore, they think that you should be doing better financially.
Well, financially and on the pitch, yeah. I totally understand that. It's exactly what we want to be. As a football club, we don't want to keep staying in League Two. We want to progress. We want to get into League One and beyond, the ambition's here to do that.
Craig says, welcome to Swindon Town FC, Anthony. I appreciate that you've had a lot of difficult questions fired at you tonight, but could you offer anything meaningful to reassure supporters? Thus far, you seem very defensive and more than a little frustrated with supporters. I mean...
No, I'm not frustrated with supporters at all. As you know yourself, Vic, I walk through a match day, chat to the fans on the away days, chat to the fans, so I've no issue with supporters at all. Certain things, and apologies, I've been a little bit riled up by the article from the Trust this season, because it's just not true. So apologies if you think I've been a bit defensive, but I will defend our corner when I don't think something's right.
Let's have a look. Christian Paul Kostiak says, do you know what happened to this club in 1990? Are you aware of the history and demotion and things like that? Because of yeah, you are. I mean, where are we at with that? Because the club does have things hanging over it with various parties. Are we, and the share issue, of course, which wasn't out in the open straight away.
Yeah.
Are we having FA charges hanging over it?
At the moment, we're waiting to hear back from the FA on that. Obviously, the 10% and where Clem obviously has come out and apologised for that. We are waiting to hear back, and we haven't heard anything back on that at the moment, Vic. So, when we do, we'll update everyone, as we've said, and we'll come back to everybody on that.
Again, another question on the budget. Will there be a reasonable budget to strengthen the team going into January?
Yeah, well, Clem's over on the 21st of December, around that date. So we'll be sitting down with Jamie Russell, myself, and Michael Flynn to go through that and see what the guys want and what we can do within that January transfer window.
Right, and let's go back to those shares. George says, can Anthony provide an update on the shares Clem sold? Seeing we brushed over that, I think at least some have been brought back by now, or should have been brought back by now, because if I remember rightly, Clem said he was when we spoke to him, he was actively looking at selling or getting them back. Do we know what the situation is with that?
Yeah, still doing that at the moment. He's still looking at getting the shares back, and Clem will give you an update in person at the fans forum when he's here in January. When we do the forum, in January, so he'll come through and give you the update.
Yeah, please come along to the fans forum. We'd love to see you. Why is this is from Luke? Why is a sustainable club still running at an alleged loss of 1 million? Now owner is into his third season. Half price rent at a gifted stadium, 5,500 season tickets, and home gates of 8,000 plus. Players allegedly not being paid, resulting in FA Cup loss. Well, you partly answered that about the players not being paid, etc. But the point is, we're getting 8,000 to 9,000, as I said to you before, and it's apparently still running at a loss. I mean, give us an idea of how much it costs to run Swindon Town Football Club.
It's about £1 million a year that the club's currently losing, that it's costing to run the football club. So the next set of financial figures will be with the turnover 6.9 million last year, and the club cost 8.2 million to run. And that's the figures that when Scott comes, he will see figures. And that's what we published. It comes out of their review and be there for all.
So it just broke up a little bit. Can you just repeat that bit that you said, Anthony? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So the club turnover last year, £6.9 million and cost 8.2 to run. So it's cost there 1.3 million.
Okay.
And that will be all there to see when Scott comes to do that review.
Right. Anthony, I know you may not be happy with some questions, but fans just get worried about the club we all love. I guess you understand that, do you?
100%. I totally understand that. Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
There's no issues with that. I understand that concern. But look, like I said, we are on a mission to make sure the club's sustainable. We don't want to be crazy with budgets, go out there and blow ourselves out of the water. Why would we do that? We need to make sure we are sustainable and we are giving both on the pitch and off the pitch. That's key to a successful football club.
Hi, Claire. Bit of credit where it's due, and I just wanted to extend my thanks to Anthony in regards of my missing bag and contents. A gesture from the club greatly appreciated. Thank you. So that was, you might well remember that Claire mislaid and then had her bag taken away.
Yeah.
But I think you supplied her with a shirt, didn't you? So
you did, yeah.
Right. We were told we had a budget to get out of this league. That wasn't true, says Kevin. So how can we believe stuff being said? Basically, I mean, the point is, it seems to me that a lot of people are frustrated. Clem used the words open and transparent. People see some things as not being open and transparent.
Okay.
How open and transparent can you possibly be running a football club?
Well, asking someone to come in as an independent and review the financial records, I think is very open and transparent. You've got an owner that's always available to speak. I know some people criticise and say, where's Clem been? But Clem's been in Australia, making sure the business in Australia is running correctly, as it is, to help fund Swindon Town Football Club. So I don't know how much more transparency people would like to see. Is there anything more specific there, Vic, that people are saying that I'd like to see, that maybe we can help with, that would help for guys to see? I don't know. But we'll always listen. As long as it's sensible, we'll always listen.
How is the £8.2 million broken down, asked Daniel, in large ticket items, as I'm sure we don't have £6 million wage budget, for example. What are the costs? If you can give us an idea of the costs of running that football club.
What would you like to see, from the facilities maintenance uptake of the stadium, through to your ticket sales, through to your shop, through to the sponsorship deals, through to, where does it end, Vic? There's so much that goes into running a football club that is, it's a hell of a lot goes into running a football club.
Okay. Any news on a new kit deal for next season, says Dan, which is...
Yeah, we're looking at the moment. We're tied in with Puma for another year. And then we're looking at options. We looked at probably somewhere between 6 and 8 different potential kit manufacturers at the moment. So we're just narrowing that down at the moment to the last 3. Then we'll sort of take that forward into final negotiations.
Steve says, what's Anthony's thinking on why the trust won't come into the club and see the accounts, especially having interest in the ground ownership and representing its membership, us the fans? I mean, how much contact, you've said you've asked them to come in. How much contact have you had with them apart from that?
Well, it's not only myself that's had the contact. It's Annabella and Scott have been emailing and communicating over email. So this is where a little bit of my frustration is. So that communication is going on between Annabella and Scott, as it should do. They're the two financial people that sit down and go through the accounts. So I don't know what more we can do. Really, we've offered them to come in. They come and sit in. Fine, come and see it. We're here.
Now, this is from Daniel. Given that Anthony and Lee Dover are full-time with STFC, how is Axis Services Group UK still operating? Now, you, of course, were with Axis.
Correct, yeah.
What do you want to say about Lee Dover?
Lee Dover has left the football club. So Lee has gone back to construction. So we're actively looking for that role at the moment.
You're looking for a new stadium manager?
Looking for a new stadium manager, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How difficult's that been then? Bearing in mind a lot of questions are coming in about the ground development as well. You know, some people are asking when is the development underway. So has that put it back a bit?
No, not at all. No, we just carry on. Adds to my workload a bit, Vic, at the moment until we fill that role. But I've kind of picked up that sort of baton where Lee's gone, and we move forward. So,
when do you expect an appointment to be made on stadium manager? Do you have any idea?
Hopefully for Christmas, but more likely, Vic, it'll be middle of January.
Middle of January, I think you said there. This is from Keith. Can the club provide a more detailed set of accounts like Carlisle United produced? Last year's was better than previous years, but more transparency is needed. I mean, I don't know how companies work. I'm not a business lawyer. I have no idea. So how usual is it for football clubs to produce accounts that everybody can see? Do you see what I mean? I mean, me as a sort of average fan who just goes along and watches football,
yeah.
You know, do I have the right to see accounts? How does that work?
They get published on Companies House, depending on the detail that they want. Yeah, I mean, obviously, certain stuff is obviously in the wages, certain stuff's obviously in the general costs, and in the assets. Depends what guys want to see in a more transparent way. What have Carlisle done differently to what we published last year? Maybe that's something I need to have a look at, and I'll take that away with it. Yeah, no problem at all. Fair
enough. We were told that we would have a competitive budget to get promotion this season, but we have a threadbare squad with very little past the first 11. Have had kids from the academy on the bench for the last couple of months. Why haven't we got a full squad of the size Flynn and Teddy wanted? Please don't blame injuries because all teams get injured. I mean, let's be fair. You took over kind of in the season. So I don't know how privy you were to discussions before the season about budgets and all that kind of stuff.
Not really privy at all. So I took over on September the 15th. So look, we are looking at it. As I said before, Clem's over just before Christmas. We'll sit down with Jamie Russell, Michael Flynn, and go for and see what the guys are looking to have and who and how we do that.
Okay. Will we be having Puma next season, says Remo?
We will be. So it's our last contracted year with Puma. So yes, it will be Puma. Yeah.
Alan says, will we get more stock in the third kit? Can't get the socks to fit an 8-year-old. Only 6 to 11 adults in the shop. There you go.
Yeah, I'll speak to retail. Yeah. The answer to that's yes. Yeah, of course we can get more stock. Yeah.
Because obviously with Christmas coming up, the more you've got, the better, really, isn't it? Simple as that.
Most definitely, Vic. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Can I ask you about Wrexham, then? Are you heading for a sellout? How would you say that's going?
We're just over 10,000 at the moment on ticket sales. I think Wrexham's general ticket sales go on. I think it's the 18th of December. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's that date, speaking to Vicky from tickets last week. So, yeah, it should be a good crowd. It should be a very good crowd.
More loads coming in. Carol says, what percentage of the match day ticket sales are the subsidised nationwide tickets? And does the nationwide sponsorship offset this revenue? And how many are free tickets? All impact the match day revenue?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yes. The answer to that is yes, you are correct. Rough numbers on nationwide are around about 300 a game in terms of the tickets that those guys get. Free tickets I've clamped down on since I came in. Because the amount we were giving away was ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. There are still some deals that we are tied into. It'd be wrong for me to name those names, where there are still tickets that go out, unfortunately. But no, that question is a fair question. And it's something that we as a club need to stamp on. And we are looking at ways to get that a much better match day revenue to make the club more sustainable. And that's what it's all about, Vic. And, the questions and some of those questions that are coming, there's some of the advisory board this month in terms of the 8,000 or 9,000 fans. They're very, very fair questions. But there's the amount of tickets that get given away. You could take the season tickets. I think there's 9 games free this season, which equates to about 40% of the games come free. It's too much. And it's something we need to look at going forward, if we want a sustainable football club, which I'm sure everybody who's calling in tonight wants that football club to be sustainable, because that's what we want. Swindon Town has to be sustainable.
Okay. I was going to ask you another question about something, and I completely... Anyway, this is from Daniel Hunt. Hi, Daniel. Anthony, humorous. If the club turned over 6.9 million and we're allowed to spend circa 60% of our turnover on wages as per the financial fair play rules, that would mean we'd have a playing budget of circa 3.8 million, which would classify as a competitive budget for my money. But here's the key. What we're seeing in the squad and on the pitch doesn't stack up with that. We're miles off terms in terms of budget. This is why people are angry. Where's the vacuum of funds? And because we've been lied to by the ownership of this club, people rightly aren't going to believe you. A problem of the club's own making. I mean, there's a lot of suspicion regarding Swindon Town because of events in the past, and people still have that suspicion. You can understand that. So what about that then? There should be a playing budget of 3.8 million. Do you know what the budget is at the minute?
No, don't quote me on the numbers on that at the moment. No, I'll speak to Jamie and see what that is.
So we can maybe get that.
Yeah, that'll become clearer when Clem comes, exactly where we are. I can follow that up. Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
Lovely. All right, we can follow that up and we will give you the answer. Was told Wrexham was sold out, including the bank as well. Hopefully you'll get the answer to this. Well, you've said it's not quite sold out yet, so
not quite. No,
not quite.
No, we're getting there.
What have Wrexham been allocated for Boxing Day?
They are around 12, 17, about 2,900, I think. Somewhere around that number, Vic. Yeah. Okay. Right. I've got to throw something at you, just as a bit of light relief for a minute. Now, today's the anniversary. You could do with a bit of light relief, I'm guessing, right now. I'm not sure whether you'll want this as light relief, but anyway, I'm going to throw this at you. Probably not.
Today is the anniversary of a very famous day in Swindon's history. It was Arsenal won, Swindon Town won in the League Cup. A great goal by Billy Tucker, bringing them back to the county ground where Swindon won by 4-3 in the replay. Now, I believe you have a certain affinity to a North London club. Did you have any knowledge of that particular anniversary today?
I didn't realise the anniversary was today, Vic. No, but you have mentioned this, and Andy Cousins has mentioned this on more than one occasion, I can say. So, yeah, I did know about the game. I didn't realise the anniversary was today, though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there we are. A very memorable day. Yeah. A memorable day for many Swindon Town fans, I can remember. Right, Alan says, any ground redevelopment in the near future? Be soon, because year since purchasing, and I believe if no redevelopment has happened after 3 years, the council can take back the ground. Now, I think you were involved, before you became CEO, you were involved with the stadium and another guys, weren't you? So what can you tell us about that 3-year deal?
So the club was bought on the 24th of March this year. With a 3-year clause in there that we need a £1 million development done. We've started within that 3 years. So the clock's ticking. We need to get moving on what we do and how we do it. And that's something as the JV we are looking into.
So what is your first port of call? I'm guessing the one that brings in the most revenue. I mean, I would assume that's the obvious.
Yeah, definitely. It will be. Look, it will be. What's going to bring the most revenue in, like bringing in the focus onto the ground. The first thing we need to do is get the master plan sorted out of how and what we want, and then take that to planning and then phase it fixed so we know where the phase is, what phase we're going to do first, and then get that into planning so we can get that £1 million development done.
Okay. Right, okay. Why did club officials tell the advisory board and other super fans, I'm not sure who he means by this, at the monthly meetings, that Chris Kiley was only offering data services and nothing more. But 1 year later, we found he'd actually had 10% of the club for a whole year. Answer that.
So, yeah, okay. He's got a percentage of the club, yeah, for helping out on the debentures. Yeah. I think Clem's come out and apologised for that on more than one occasion. So, yeah, apologies again for that. I'll apologise on behalf of Clem again and the football club. Yeah.
Okay. Is Sustainable Football Club a realistic aim when you want to be competitive? That's from Ian. Now, the point is, of course, I mean, clubs like Man City can just chuck millions at it, although 115 financial irregularity charges might prove otherwise.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Everton been penalised 10 points. You know, as an example of it there, when I think they spent, was it 105 million, or was allowed to spend 105, and they went 20 million over the budget. I think somewhere around those numbers. So they've been deducted 10 points. And then you've got Man City, again, you're quite right to say, got 115 charges. Let's see where that goes. I mean, it's not really for me to comment on other football clubs, but yeah, it's a fine balance, isn't it? It's like I said before, do you chuck a load of money at the team and try and go for broke and go for promotion, or do you make a sustainable football club with a competitive budget that is competitive? And I think, you know, this year, I'm sure this will cause some debate. The team has been competitive. Okay, we started fantastically. We had a bit of a blip, without a shadow of a doubt. We know that. But the last 3 games, we've seen some encouraging signs that the team is coming back to form.
But you understand the point, isn't it? I mean, you know, we live in an era of money, don't we? And I guess to get the best players, you need to pay higher wages. It's that simple, isn't it, really? So to be sustainable, you have to balance the books one way before you spend out on the other, don't you? So is it a realistic aim to do that?
It's a massively realistic aim to become sustainable. Yes, it is. The challenge is to remain being sustainable, as you quite rightly say, when you have that, I suppose, disproportionate value of what player wages are to what the club turns over. That's where you have the difficulty, Vic. Definitely.
So when you talk to a player, or well, I know you don't. Well, I don't know. Are you involved in player discussions? I don't know.
I don't talk to the player, Vic. I get involved with the budget, and I sit there with the budget. You know, if Mick Flynn wants to buy 11 goalkeepers, Mick Flynn can buy 11 goalkeepers. If Mick Flynn wants to play the formation of 9 on the goal line, that's down to Michael Flynn. That's not down to myself. Michael's completely responsible for the football side of Swindon Town.
All right. I think we've asked this, and you've answered it about late payment of players. Yeah, I think you've answered that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Malcolm says, "What is your view on proposed concerts? Can the club really make money from middle of the road acts and tribute bands?" I mean, this is getting at the 1990s thing in May.
Yeah.
Not my particular cup of tea, I have to say, but a little bit older than that. But I think in the past the club has tried to have concerts at the football club, and they've never really come off. I mean, what are your views on this?
Yeah, I've heard that it didn't come off. My view is look, we need to give it a go. It is a revenue stream that we are looking at. We are serious about this, and I think yes, we can make money out of it if we do it in the right way, which we believe going about it in the right way.
I mean, presumably, is there a cost to the football club in terms of putting this on? How does it work?
I'm not going to go into the finer details, but yes, there is some cost. But we've got a good promotions company that we're working with, so
and you hope to recoup through ticket sales and things like that, do you?
Yeah, definitely, and merchandise and various other stuff that goes on at concerts. Yeah.
Daniel Hunt, who says he's hiding behind a keyboard. As a follow-up, can you just say that I and others find it alarming that the chief exec doesn't know what the playing budget is? It's literally his job. I mean, what would you say to that?
That's fair comment. But since I've come in, I'm going through every single department, and the football department, I'll get round to it. I'm relying on Jamie Russell, Michael Flynn, and we'll sit down with Clem, as I said, when we're going to go. I'll have more, then I'll come back. Absolutely definite on what the budget.
I think you've answered this before. We know this isn't the case. Is Anthony employed by Swindon Town or by Axis? How closely entwined are the profits of both companies? I mean, there is a rumour that it's now part of Clem's overall business empire. Is that true? The football club?
No, the football club's a separate business.
Separate business.
Yeah.
And you're fully employed by Swindon Town now, aren't you?
I am, yes. Yeah.
So you're nothing to do with Access anymore?
No.
Could you explain in layman's terms how financial fair play works in League Two? Because it's a bit of a mystery to all of us. I think you kind of touched on it just now. So much of revenue and all that kind of thing. So how does it work?
It's both your overall turnover then equals to a percentage against your playing budget, which I think is around about somewhere 40 to 45% is how it generally works in layman's terms.
Okay.
There's a few little other factors to it, but yes, that's the way that it kind of works. And we monitored on that at the start of the season and at the midpoint of the season, which has just come up last Friday. I had to submit a net set of figures to the EFL. So yeah, that's in layman's terms, that's right how that works.
So you have to provide figures to the FL every 2 months, 3 months? How does that work?
Twice a year, start of the season, at the end, midpoint of the season.
Like twice a year, I think you said, did you?
Yeah, twice a year.
Okay. Right, Alan says, what are your feelings about the trust, and does he see them as a help or a hindrance moving forward, especially as there's been confusion over the release of the accounts? Now, I think it's fair to say you're a little bit annoyed tonight because of that statement. I think
it's fair comment. I'm frustrated by it, but where do I see the trust? I see the trust as a friend, as a club. You know, we have a good relationship. Steve Myton, Neil Hutchins, we've had a good relationship, and we do have a good relationship. But I am frustrated. And you know, we will discuss this separately. But yeah, you know, in terms of the overall relationship, it's very good.
Okay. Comment: playing budget should not be public knowledge, otherwise there'll be multiple recruitment issues, just like transfers remaining undisclosed. Ranking would be helpful, though.
In terms of where we are in the overall budget,
I guess so. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfair to compare.
Question, Vic, aren't they? Really? I mean, just because you've got the biggest playing budget doesn't mean you're going to get promotion.
I mean, you look at a club like Wrexham. Can you compare and contrast Wrexham, for instance, which is probably an unfair comparison, but give us an idea of
I think Wrexham last year, I believe, turned over somewhere between 22 and 23 million pounds. So it's completely, you know, 3.5 times our budget, give or take.
And they're not hindered by financial fair play, I don't think, this season, are they?
Not this season, they're not. No, I believe that's right. I think not this season.
Yeah. What is your definition of sustainable? Are we aiming to break even, make a certain amount of profit a year? What is in the end goal by being sustainable?
Sustainable will be breaking even every year. And that then allows Clem to then invest more in the players, which is what everybody wants to see.
Okay. All right. As you can imagine. Liam says, hang on, that's just jumped up. Good evening, both. I'm sorry I missed the first few minutes. How dare you, Liam? Anthony, give us a short summary of your background. Oops, it's done again. i.e. accountancy, HR, project management. Yeah, give us it was an opportunity for people to get to know you. So let's try and get to know you a little bit before we get back to the other questions. Give us an idea of your background.
So started life as an apprentice electrician back when I was 16, and then worked my way through various different positions, a few little different companies, where I found myself eventually at Axis. And I'm at Clem Morfuni coming up for about 11 years ago now, actually, nearly to the day, to be fair. So, yeah. And I've had various different roles and it is to answer that question, is predominantly project management, financial control of those projects, ultimately to where I was running Axis in the UK.
So, having worked with him for 11 years, how would you sum him up?
The good thing about Clem is, and for myself actually, is that I have a great relationship with him both professionally and personally. To sum Clem up, he's easygoing, and also can be very, very, very demanding. I think Clem would say that himself. I think anyone that works for Clem knows that. But he's a great person to work for, and I've worked for him for 11 years, and I think that's testament to being here 11 years that he's great to work for.
Right. If VAR was a topic for the lower leagues in the future, I beg, please do not vote for it. I mean, is that a possibility? That's from Adrian.
No comment on VAR. I'm not getting into that debate, Vic. No chance. Not after the weekend. I think everyone's got an opinion on VAR, but I've got no comment on it.
Okay. I don't think it's not going to make its way down, is it? I don't think.
Who knows? Who knows?
Now, I think I can answer this. Do we know when the advisory board minutes are available for November 2023? I think that's imminent, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah, so they'll be out tomorrow. They'll be out. Yeah.
Okay. Why is the Australian Academy using an old badge and not our current badge? Is it because the revenue from such academy is going into a separate account and not into the football club's account? And how comes the Karachi FC are using official STFC badge on kits? Now, can you clear up what's happening with the academy in Australia and Karachi? Can you clear up what's happening with those?
So Gav Gunning went out to, who's one of our coaches, Gav Gunning went out to Australia 12th of November to set up the first school out there, which went well. I can't answer the badge, to be honest. I'll have to have a look at that for you. I don't know why. And Karachi, I'll have to find out what's going on with Karachi. At the moment, the focus has been on Australia and doing the Australian Academy. Since I've come here, that's been Clem's focus, and where why blown out and take Australia up. Karachi, I'll have to come. I don't know what we're doing in Karachi at the moment. I thought I'd speak to Jamie Russell and come.
Sorry, you went a little bit Daleki then for a moment. What was that last bit?
I'm sorry. In terms of Karachi, I'll have to come back to you, Vicky, and what we're doing. I'll speak to Jamie Russell and I'll come back to you guys on that.
Okay, because there's been a bit of speculation about what it actually does. Are we finding players or are we not finding players?
Well, I'm sure that's the intent.
Yeah,
absolutely, is to try and find players. But we need to find out. I'll give you an update and find out.
Okay. Rob Angus, this is from Josh. Rob Angus spoke a lot about sustainability in cycling infrastructure, but just palmed it off, claiming he's looking into it. Can Anthony actually make secure cycle parking available, especially as the last home game, 2 Swindon fans lost their push bikes after they were destroyed by the away fans? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, because bikes are cheap these days.
It's a bit of a hot topic, in terms of sustainability, obviously, with what we're trying to do. Pledgeable, someone we're trying to look to work with as well in terms of the sustainability of games, etc. We do need to sort that out, and that's not me trying to fob that off, guys. By the way, it's just need to be looked into. Cycle stores been around, and you're right. That's been around for a while.
Yeah, I think you're trying to sort that out. I think that's what you said. But I mean, obviously, if people could cycle to the county ground and feel their bikes would secure, that would go a long way to your sustainability in terms of the environment. But Michael Doughty, I think we should clear that up once and for all. He's not with the club anymore, is he?
No, Michael resigned due to his current work commitments with Hilo. So unfortunately, Michael is no longer with us.
Are you looking to replace him?
Yes, we are. Yes, yeah. And coincidentally, actually, the trust, which had come out as part of the advisory board meetings, their guy Chris Van Room, he's resigned as well. That is a role that we do need to fill. Right.
So you're looking for a sustainability officer, basically.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay. This is from Matt. Did you ever think you'd be involved in a football club? Was it ever an ambition of yours, and are you enjoying it?
It's always been an ambition to be involved in football. I'm sure, like anyone growing up. Yeah. Did I think if the opportunity would come around now? No, I didn't. Am I enjoying it? I absolutely love it. I think it's a fantastic job. I think it's a fantastic club. Absolutely love it.
How have you? I mean, obviously, you do have an allegiance with Arsenal. That's fair enough, because you're allowed to do that. But how embedded are you in Swindon Town now? Because it's a strange phenomenon, isn't it? Because people come into football clubs and they do support other teams, but they do kind of get embedded. How embedded are you?
Yeah, very embedded into it. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love coming to the games, watching the games, seeing the fans, the good side, the bad side, when we win, when we lose, etc. So no, it's great. I love it. And
you are always in the Legends Lounge before matches, aren't you? I mean, you do come in there.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's very important to engage and see the opinions, good, bad, indifferent. And I respect everybody's opinion. I think they're entitled to that opinion. You pay your money to come here, to come to the games. You're entitled to your opinion. I've no issue with that whatsoever.
And you're always happy to chat with them. I know you are.
Always happy to chat. Yeah, whether it's at home, away games, I'm happy to chat. No problems at all.
Will you be using your past experience, says Simon, in the trade to ensure nothing else comes out of the woodwork from past ownership? I mean, where are we at with that? I mean, the debt, I think, was bigger than people thought. Where are we at with somebody said, how long will it be before we use the term previous ownership? But it does have an effect on the football club. Where are we at with that?
It's a difficult one to answer, really, isn't it? I mean, the football club, as I said before, Clem's come out and apologised for, I think, what's commonly being called now Sharegate. So I think he's being apologised for that, and we move forward, and we just, I don't know how many times someone can apologise before we draw a line in the sand. Come on, guys, let's move on. I mean, Clem come on the podcast here with you guys, which was a joint podcast with the Tom Broadbent Lounge, and he went through everything. I think he had a very fair, open discussion about what went on. I think he answered all his sundry questions about everything, and I just think, look, time will tell, and hopefully people will get that faith back, which is definitely there. Clem's done the right thing by the football club to make sure there's still a football club here. The debts that Clem incurred when he thought he was advised, obviously due diligence couldn't be carried out, when he first took over the club, but, and the debt's a lot bigger than what he thought. But, that debt's been cleared. Much to Clem's credit, he's done that, and he continues to support the football club, with monies being paid in as and when required to do that. And I think from that point of view, there should be trust. I think when the supporters' trust come in, view the accounts, they will see that, and that can then be reported accurately, and hopefully people will see from that the amount of time, effort and money that Clem is putting into this football club, and hopefully that will gain some people's trust and respect back, but I think Clem's the first person to realise the way what happened. That is why, and the previous ownerships, is very hard to get rid of that until that's kind of proven. And being open and transparent with the accounts, I think, is a very good way so people can see that. You can see the football club walks and all. And I think it's just time, Vic. I really do. I think people will see in time that Clem is the right owner for the football club, which I think I know he is. It's easy for me to say that. I've worked with him for 11 years. But some people obviously haven't and don't know Clem, so that becomes difficult. But he's an honest, honourable guy, and he will do the best for Swindon Town Football Club. And I think he's proving that with the way that he keeps to support the club.
And as I keep saying, if you want to actually ask him questions, you can come along to the fans forum whenever that's arranged.
I think it's going to be in January, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be in January. Yeah. I think that's the first opportunity for people to come and see Clem and answer those questions. And I think it's a great opportunity for everybody.
Ben says, why aren't these things communicated with the fans? Michael Doughty, lead over, etc. And then Dean picks up on that. Why do we always have to find out when people have left by questions being answered? Why can't the club just update us when things happen? It would surely stop so many questions and gossip. I mean, people come and go from companies all the time. You know that.
Yeah.
How important is it to notify people when people leave, would you say?
It is important, and it is in the advisory board meeting minutes this month, and they are late, unfortunately, being issued. So they're coming out tomorrow, and you guys, you would have had that not ordinarily before this podcast has gone out, but right. Apologies.
Okay, so that's included in the minutes of the advisory.
In the minutes. It is, yes, it is.
Okay, fair enough. Right, Andy says, going back to clamping down on free tickets, does that include schools and youth teams? They're the fans of the future. And I guess you would say that, wouldn't you? Because the way of getting young fans hooked is getting them to come and watch the town on a Saturday, isn't it? So there's a balance between free tickets to schools, etc., and charging people the right amount of money for things.
I think the key thing is at the moment is one of the key issues that we have, and, our health and safety guy on a match day is clamping down with all of the security guys to say people coming in on underage tickets. I mean, we have a big issue with that, where people are buying underage tickets and coming into the county ground on a match day. And that goes back to that question, and some way to answering is, at the moment, some of them, majority, some of them aren't the correct coming to watch them. Simple as that. And we need to get down on it.
Sorry, you've frozen a little bit again. If you want to reiterate what you just said, sorry. You just went a bit Dalek-y again. Are you auditioning from a part in Doctor Who, by the way, the Daleks?
It's good to say that on, isn't it? Yeah. I'll be in it. No, I was just saying about the underage tickets, Vic, and how much of an issue that is. You know, and there is a significant number of people that do come in with underage tickets, and we do need to clamp down on that.
How do you do that?
We're looking at all. Well, we look at, you do get a different colour code on when it scans in on the turnstile. So but then that does become on the automated turnstile, relying on obviously the security guys picking it up. Obviously on a manned turnstile, then we're reliant on the operator of the turnstile to then obviously do that, which is a little bit more controllable as opposed to, you know, sometimes some people may get through on a scan ticket, but we are catching people. They are being sent back to the ticket office to go and buy the right ticket. Are we catching all of them? No. You know, we need everybody's help to do that.
Okay, let's have a look at more of these. Darren says, the club is stagnating under Clem. He doesn't have the money for a competitive team or the money needed to rebuild out of the ground. Why not sell the club instead of treading water season after season or seek investment? The point is, if somebody says, look, you know, this might take a few years, because Stephen says this, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to rebuild. We don't want boom and bust. Thanks, Clem, for everything you've done for the town. Now, there's two different sides of the story there.
Yeah.
Is it not easier to say, look, this might take 3, 4, 5 years. This is where we are. You'll have to accept that, or can you accept that? And we go from there. Would that be easier to do that rather than, you know, this thing? I mean, the point is, we had under the first season under Clem, of course, the playoffs. Yeah. So everybody's expectation level goes up a degree.
Yeah, 100%.
So then we have a disappointing season. It goes back down again, and people still expect it to be up there.
Yeah.
So realistically, do you see us in League One? Well, hopefully next season, the season after. Where realistically could we be?
Look, I'd love us to be in League One next season. I mean, you know, but we probably have, and you guys may agree or disagree on this one. But I think we've got the most competitive League Two that I think we may have seen. I mean, there's some big clubs that are in there this year with some big budgets. There's no two ways about it. You know, are we going to compete with Wrexham financially? No. You know, so that, you know, that's a straight answer. But realistically, within 3 years, we'd like to be in League One. Ideally, we do it this year. It'd be fantastic. It'd be a massive achievement. And hopefully again next year. But within 3 years, certainly, we'd like to be in League One. You know, if we can do it sooner, fantastic.
Okay. More coming in. Claire says, I think the trust ship has sailed, Anthony. Sorry, but there's too much water under the bridge. I think yet again for most fans, if January doesn't provide decent signings and strengthening the squad, more questions are going to be asked. Back to tickets. Proof when buying passports, driving license. Of course, you can't do that online, can you? Or can you?
Maybe use the QR code, maybe, possibly something. But I don't really know.
There's a data protection.
It's a difficult. Exactly right. It's difficult.
Yeah,
it's very difficult.
Why not have different colour tickets for age groups? But I think you said there is different colour that shows.
We do. Yeah. But the problem is, if it's bought electronically online and you go to an automated turnstile, that's where we get the reliance on the security guard to spot it.
It's the same with security at any club, says Malcolm. They are not club employees, and as long as they see a ticket, they don't care what ticket it is. I mean, I guess really that's having a chat with the people who run the security, isn't it?
Well, we do it every single match day. That's done with the main supervisor briefing, then those supervisors go out and brief the rest of the stewards. So that is done week in, week. Well, I say week in, week out. Every home match that's done.
Okay. By the way, Malcolm, I don't have an Apple Cart, but if I did, I wouldn't care about knocking it over in answer to one of your comments. So there we are. That won't mean anything to you, Anthony, but I just thought I'd throw that one in. Matthew says, if only we had a 5-year plan published that outlined our goals. Now, there was a sort of roadmap, wasn't there?
There was one published, yeah. It's a great comment to be updated and issued again. Yeah, I've got no issue with that. Definitely.
I mean, I'm not a great... I remember saying to Clem when we first did an interview with him, I don't want to hear about us being in the Premier League in 5 years' time, because how many times we heard that? I want to hear how realistic it is to be a football club in 5 years' time. That's, to me, the most important thing. In 5 years' time, we'll have a football club. Is that what you're saying?
100%, yeah. And beyond that, we need to get it sustainable, which we're working to.
Simple question: are we going to sign any current loanees permanently? Young and Kemp, and how many new signings? Squad 5 players short. Again, you're going to say that's for Clem, you, Jamie, to sit down with Michael Flynn and discuss, I guess, when he comes over.
100%, 100%. And we're on me to start talking about individual players and who we're looking into, who we're not.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to happen soon. But he must. I mean, there must be a. He must have a list in which he's looking at. I assume the manager. I mean.
Yeah.
Clearly, he would.
Christmas list, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how is Santa Claus? Are you being friends with him at the minute, or are you?
Always friends. Always friends.
Oh dear. Can I ask you about season tickets for next season?
You can.
As a season ticket holder, who pays for his season ticket, contrary to some people's sort of views, when are we likely to hear about season tickets?
Sat down with ticketing last week, and we're just finalising now where we are, kind of rationalising the categories that we had, Vic, so it becomes a little bit more simpler for us to manage and hopefully simpler for you guys. And then we'll be in the next year, so people know exactly what we're looking at. Be coming out to go on sale. We've seen our.
Sorry, you've gone again. We missed a bit of that. Sorry.
We sat down with ticketing last week with a view that they will go on sale at the end of February.
Okay, end of February. Can you give us an indication as to how they will be? Will there be I mean, you're presumably going to talk to the supporters club and the trust, I think you said, about it.
Yes. Yeah,
yes.
I'll speak to you guys first, and then we'll come out and we'll have a discussion on what we're doing with the season tickets. Yeah.
Okay, so can you give us a glimpse as to what they might do? Might they go up or stay as they are, or go? Well, I'm guessing not go down, but any idea?
No, I'm not going to speculate anymore. We'll sit down with the trust and yourselves, and we'll go through it, and then we'll come out with the relevant information.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Do you think Swindon fans are getting value for money? Says Roman.
In terms of goals scored, definitely. And we don't need too many non-eventful games, guys, do we? To be honest, that's the one thing we've seen this season. I think we had 1-0, haven't we?
I was just thinking the last Saturday against Mansfield, I would pay double the amount for that. I mean, that was a belting game,
wasn't it? It was good, wasn't it? Yeah, very good. It was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Accrington till the last 5 minutes. I must admit, it got a bit hairy. And actually, there's a small point about that. I know Crystal Tips asked me this, and I was going to put it in. Barrow were offering to refund fans after the Maidstone defeat. What do you think of that in line of the Aldershot defeat? And also, Accrington very kindly, you may know this, gave us hot drinks free of charge up there. Would you reciprocate, Accrington? And what about refunding fans after defeats? Are you into that or not?
We wouldn't be asking for a refund if we won, would they? So you buy your ticket on the hope that we are going to win the game. It's just the same as we do with everyone. So no, is the short answer to that, Vic, to be honest. In terms of reciprocating the offer that Accrington kindly done, definitely. I think that's the right thing to do, particularly over the Leatherford journey. It was freezing as well. I can vouch for that because I was there. It was absolutely bitter cold evening. So yeah, definitely. It's the right thing to do. Yeah,
I enjoyed 2 cups of hot chocolate. It was very nice. Will disabled prices be published this time on the season ticket correspondent? If I remember rightly, there was a little bit, you weren't here then, but there was a little bit of kerfuffle about disabled tickets on the season. But will they be published on the season ticket correspondence?
Yes, they will be. Yes, that's one of the key things we spoke about. Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes, so they will be. Yeah.
Okay. Right, Anthony, I think we've come to the end of our questions, and we've had a good old run through. Can I just ask you this one? Jason Lane, again, you're always happy to talk to people in the legends. 2 UK companies, both liquidated. Will this happen with STFC?
Sorry, you broke up on me that time, Vic. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Axis, 2 UK companies, both liquidated. Will this happen with STFC?
No, it won't happen with STFC, no.
Okay, that's the short answer. And Anthony, we thank you very much for your time.
No problem,
and we really appreciate it. And I know there's a lot of difficult questions for you to answer. but you've come out and you've been there. That's all we can ask for. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Brilliant. Thank you, Anthony. We will be back next Monday. We don't quite know who with yet, but we will be back on the sofa next Monday. So have a good week. We will see as many of you as we can at Wimbledon. I think it's sold out now, isn't it? The away allocation's sold out. So fantastic. So we will be there. And we will see you all next week. Thank you again. Bye-bye.